get on his ass real quick one time. 144, baby.
They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, me whole car. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You either low or this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our core. Wait up, let me make a call right quick. I'ma start another war. I was hurting when she left, but I don't care about any more. I need a Vaseline like my Nina Puffer boy. Took a sock, watch the dark. Matter of fact, like the dark. Any problem, let them come. We gon' snatch they soul like Shane Shaw. Put them out of service, keep them tools like Miss Harvey. Try to hope it's way too late. I'm headed straight to the safe. Throw that one up like a trophy. I'm that nigga, ain't no debate. Told them boys we taking notes. Call them up like set the date. This shit a piece of cake. Yeah, my bitches came from Whole Foods. Told them put on that top 3. Then bring me my house shoes. Don't make excuses. These niggas ungrateful, gotta show them UBK rules. I make hits like I can't lose. They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, the whole court. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You either low or this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our court. Yeah, I just got off the call. I'ma start another war. Spit a plate up with my niggas, get your knife and your fork. He ain't locked in with the coat and with the speaking to me fart. Yeah, I just took the floor. Ain't no cowards in my campaign. They can't stop the campaign. Tell them bring the champagne. They know I'm a champion. They can see the outcome. Get them niggas bad, got them tied down and out there. You can't do with them steppers. Niggas been down since day one. We run up the bands, bitch like Dylan. They say you get on, you gon' represent. I said, of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I read that bitch just like a horse. Yeah, about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, we whole start. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You either low or this low, so that bitch is either or. I told you niggas, you ain't cut like that. I swear I'm to our court. And I just made it call. We gon' start another war. Yeah.
I got you. Let it vibe real quick. Look.
The city eyes. It's time to vote God. My God, a real nigga. Cause he wasn't no flaw. Posted on the corner like a watchdog. Family secure, got that shot in the closet by the mob ball. Fuck what they heard, when tell them it's all true. Be cautious, that foundation falls till you fall through. They gon' fall. Look, I keep this shit 50 times 2. Ain't no more heart in this game, I'm John Q. We colder than the avalanche, way above average. Fierce taste sweet, told him make me an apple tree. Left us in the valley full of bones, this where hope found. Java, come on, man. Dark sands get broke down. Riding through Evans to a mall quad. Telling me how them crackers turn this childhood to a ghost town. Focus out, nigga, I lay that game down. I feel his pain, cause nothing is the same now. Let my light shine like heaven through a rain cloud. Glock have a fit like my child, no tangent. Try to warn them niggas, we bear arms like tarantulas. Them mother niggas rap, I make anthems. I really seen prophets under this banner. Made my enemies bow down on camera. Told my design I wanted black and white like a panda. I'm better than that nigga that sunk dirty Diana. Look, I move like a Brazilian, precious cargo, spirit ancient, but I got a new semi-auto. Wave that bitch around like where's Wardo. Sleep if they won't, I cut through they Z's like I'm Zorro. Pay me for his name, so I gotta keep that steel clutch. Trust me, I'm not what you think. I squeeze till it click like Dorothy when the heels touch. The world got me dumb, I don't feel much. Ride around with Yara, just left the state bridge. Looking for a bitch better than Baby's kid. Remember I dropped Quiet Storm, I've been gone ever since. Still in the field, fuck them niggas on the fence, yeah.
Yeah. That's right. It is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of Harlem, New York since 1969 under Commanding General Yohana. And we've been called to teach the so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, and so-called Native Americans that we are the lost sheep. Salakia, hold on. Lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right. Tonight we starting class a little late because we had a little technical difficulty. So you guys got to kind of like work with me a little bit because we had to actually change our plan with StreamYard, and it's kind of like giving me a hard time here. So, but I'm gonna try to make sure that we pull this thing off. All right. So tonight's class is going to be on America. Is America in the Bible? A lot of people want to act, they ask that question. A lot of people say, well, America is not in the Bible. A lot of people say maybe it can be in the Bible. They just don't know where to look at in the Bible. All right. Well, tonight I actually had a real long presentation, but I had to consolidate it. So you got to, like I said, you got to work with me. So tonight I'm going to show you that America is in the Bible, and the purpose of America I will talk about, and talk about the war that's taking place right here in America and on this earth in general, but mainly here in America, because America is important. It's important to prophecy. It's important to the fulfillment of what the truth really teaches. Now, as a Christian, America or any nation or land or anything is not important to you because you're waiting for something to come down out of the sky, and you are believing that you're going to be living in the sky. All right. A lot of people really don't understand from the perspective of the Israelites on what the Bible is saying when it comes to America, when it comes to the reason why Christ came, and so on and so on. But one of the major things that I want to touch on this evening is the saints and the fact that we are at war, and where we are we're at in America. And this is how America plays a role in the scriptures. And then we're going to show it tonight. So the first place we're going to go is we're going to start is 1 Corinthians 6:2. I'm going to try to get right into it. All right. I'm trying to get right into it. So why did I pull? Saints will judge the world. A lot of people don't know this, but saints will judge the world. If you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 2, it says, do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? And who are the saints? Israelites. We will judge the world. All right. It goes, it says, and if the world shall be judged by you, are you not unworthy to judge the smaller matters? So this is addressing judgment and dealing with smaller matters, but it also talks about the fact that we're going to judge a bigger matter. So it's saying, if we're going to judge the world, shouldn't we be able to judge small things pertaining to what goes on in our daily life? Salaki. Salakia. All right. So it's saying the saints shall judge the world. And of course, we pull precepts here, and it says, who are the saints? If you go to Psalms and you want to put this with your precept in your precept package, that if you want to look, I'm going to tell you why knowing that saints are Israelites is so important. Because when you go to the book of Romans is addressed to all the saints that are in Rome. When you go to Ephesians, it's appointed to all saints that's in Ephesus. So what you want to do in those type of situations, you want to, no matter what chapter they go to in the book of Romans, no matter what chapter they go to in Ephesians, always say, hey, listen, we can go back to the beginning of this letter because it wasn't broken down into chapters. This was one big letter, and this letter was written to the saints. And here's the precept. Psalms 50 and 5, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Those that made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And we know that that is only the Israelites. But the Israelites will judge the world. So why am I bringing that topic up dealing with America? All right. This is the reason why. Why is other nations still around us? Why? That plays a role in this judgment that we're going to be talking about and the battle that we're going to be battling as we bring it out here in America, right? But if you go to Judges chapter 3 and verse 1, this explains why we have other nations. Remember, the scripture says the earth was made for our sake, all right? It was made for us to rule under our king, which is Yahushua Mashiach, which is known to the world as Jesus Christ. But when you go to Judges chapter 3 and verse 1, it says, now these are the nations which the Lord left. So remember, after we went into the land, the Most High, he left nations. That's why it says, now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, meaning to test Israel by them. So the other nations was left for what? To test Israel, right? To test us, even as many of Israel as had not known all of the wars of the land of Canaan. Salakia, hold on for 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Salaki, we had Judges chapter 3 and verse 1. All right. Now, like I said, we pulled this because this is the reason why the other nations, that's somebody, they'll be back. It says, now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel had not known all the wars of Canaan. Verse 2, only that the generations of the children of Israel might know, to teach them war, at least such as before knew nothing thereof. Namely, and then it names the nations that it left, namely, Salakia, the Philistines and all of the Canaanites and the Soanes and the Hivites that dwelt in Mount Lebanon and Mount, hey, you see where I'm at, Salakia, I'm at Judges chapter 3. You with me? So once again, these are the nations that was left to prove us. You can start at verse 3, Judges 3 and 3. Go ahead.
Judges 3 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, 5 lords of the Philistines and all of the Canaanites and the Sidonians and the Hivites that dwelt in the Mount of Lebanon, from Mount Baal, Hermon unto entering to Hamath.
So these are the nations that was left to do what? To prove us. These are Hamite nations. And they was left to test us, to see this. Let's see what they was testing us to do. Verse 4.
And they were to prove Israel by them, to know whether they would hearken unto the commandments of the Lord, which he commanded their fathers by the hand of Moses. And the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, Hittites, and Amorites, and Perizzites, and Hivites, and Jebusites.
So the nations was left to do what? To test us. That's what the nations was left for us to do, to see if we would hearken unto the other nations and follow their laws of marriage, or follow their laws of divorce, or follow their feast days. The Most High wants to see if we'll follow them or follow him. So then remember, judgment, the saints shall judge the world. Don't forget that. The saints shall judge the world. Give me Deuteronomy 17 and 6. So of course there's a law pertaining to how one must judge and how we must judge. When we judge the world, we have to judge the world according to the Most High standards. The Most High standards, how do we find the Most High standards? We find the Most High standards in his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. This is how you find the standard of the Most High. If you ever want to know how the Most High handle things or how the Most High does things, he does things according to his law. So the Most High can't judge if he doesn't judge. If the judgment is not according to this, the judgment is not righteous. 17:6. You got it?
Deuteronomy 17:6.
Mm-hmm.
At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death.
All right. So you need at least 2 witnesses to establish truth. 2 Corinthians 13:1. You have to. Now, while he's getting that, I'm going to read what Yahushua said. It's up on the screen. It's Matthew 18:16. It says, but if he will not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word may be established. So every word may be established whenever you have 2 witnesses. You cannot establish truth without 2 witnesses. You got that? 2 Corinthians 13:1.
2 Corinthians 13:1. Now in the 18th year of King Jeroboam.
No, Salakia, 2 Corinthians 13:1.
Second.
It says, this is the 3rd time I have come unto you. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall every word be established. So Paul is making sure that in order for truth to come forth, the witness, it has to be by at least 2 or more. All right. So we understand that, right? We understand. But let me ask you a question. What if the enemy makes war with us? Go to Zechariah 14:11. 14:11. What if we're at war here? Now, what are the 2 in the chat? If anybody know, or even you, young man, do you know the 2 witnesses in Revelation 11?
Yeah, yes, I know who they are.
Yeah, go to it real quick. I'm gonna take this down. Sidebar.
So go to Revelation.
Go to Revelation 11. I told y'all gotta work with me. Hold on, let me pull him up. Revelation 11. All right.
What verse?
You can start at verse 4.
Revelation 11:4. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth.
Uh-huh.
And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devour their enemies.
Go down to verse 8. These are the 2 witnesses.
Verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, whereas our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds of tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
All right. So listen, I'm not going to get into the breakdown of it, but the 2 witnesses is Judah and Israel. All right. That's the 2 witnesses. The 2 witnesses in Revelation 11 is Judah and Israel. All right. I want y'all to keep that in mind. All right. Hold on. Work with me. All right. Let me get back to it. So it's going to be some precepts pulled here. So you want to get that precept book out. All right. So what if the 2 witnesses, which are Judah and Israel, remember, these are the saints. These are the Israelites. They're us. So if the 2 witnesses can go to war and be destroyed, then how could they testify against the world? How could they judge the world? How could those two judge the world? You got that, Zechariah 11 and 14? That's what I meant to say. What did I say, 14? Zechariah 11 and 14. It's important to understand what the battle is and why it's vital and important. This could be like a brotherhood class. All right? It's important that we're together. It's very important not for us to be divided. This is why the Most High brought us here, so that we can be united, so the tabernacle of David can be restored. You got it?
Zechariah 11 and 14. Then I cut asunder mine other staff.
So he's saying then he separated, he divided his other staff. Go ahead.
Even bands.
Even the bands. When he says the bands, he's talking about the union. The union, right? Go ahead.
That I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel.
This is what has happened. The brotherhood between Judah and Israel has been broken. So if the judgment between Judah and Israel has been broken, can they fulfill Deuteronomy 17 and 6? Young man, can they, if Judah and Israel has been broken, has been divided, can they fulfill Deuteronomy 17 and 6, where it says, at the mouth of two witnesses or three witnesses shall he that is worth the death be put to death, but by the mouth of one witness he shall not be put to death?
Not separately.
Not separately. So that's important. That's important to understand. It's important to understand our battle and our fight, and why it's so important that we wake up our brothers. It's so important, because together we stand, right? Divided we fall. And in order to understand what we're pulling out, you have to pull precepts. This is why it says in Psalms 119 and 100, I understand more than my ancient because I keep my precepts. Or Psalms 119 and 104, through thy precepts I get understanding thereof, and I hate every false way. So any other way besides looking at the Bible, looking at the precepts, the Most High says he hate any other way. Jeremiah 3 and 18. Remember, let's get a recap. The northern kingdom was already in the land of the north. They came over here on this side of the earth around 722 BC. Judah dominantly was still in the land, was still on that other side of the earth. So it was vital and important, and it was prophesied if we did not follow those laws, those statutes, and those commandments, we're going to be on those slave ships. And dominantly, guess what? We winded up right with Israel. So now you have Judah and Israel. And this is the prophecy that must be fulfilled. And remember, this has not happened yet. What he's about to read in Jeremiah 3 and 18 has not happened yet. Go ahead.
Jeremiah 3 and 18. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the hand of the north, out of the land of the north, to the land that I have given for inheritance unto your fathers.
So we will come out of the land of the north. This is the North America is the land of the north. And when we got here, we was divided because the brotherhood was broken. And if the brotherhood is broken, how could the saints judge the world? How could the saints judge the world? It cannot be. And don't get it twisted. We have enemies. Psalms 83. We have enemies. And our enemies played a vital role in us being enslaved here on this earth and dominantly being here in the land of the north, which is called North America. You can start at verse 2. Because when we got here in this land of the north, they used wise counsel against us. When we go out to the polls and we call ourselves voting, that's wise counsel, because it makes you feel like you're a part of it. It makes you feel like, you know, you doing something for the better of America. But that's not what we need to be doing. We shouldn't be trying to build up America. We should be trying to build up the brotherhood, because we got enemies that's right among us. That wants us to stay divided. The church wants us to stay divided. They don't want the brotherhood. They don't want Judah and Israel back together. They want us to stay divided. And the enemy needs that so that we can't judge the world. You got that Psalms 83 and 2, Salakia.
Psalms 83 and 2. For lo, thine enemies make tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They have lifted up their head. It's like when you lift up that head, that's like a death blow, because you're exposing the neck. He lifted up the head. Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
That's the deadly blow. They have taken crafty counsel. Welfare is crafty counsel. A woman's right to choose, that's crafty counsel. You was born that way, that's crafty counsel. Read it again, huh?
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said.
This is what they said. This is what the enemies has said. This is what they said because this is what they did. In the transatlantic slave trade and everything that happened to us, this is what they did. And all nations played a role in it. Go ahead.
Come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let's cut them off from being a nation. If anybody say, where in the scriptures does it say that Israel is not going to know who they are? There it is right there. Come, let us cut them off from being a nation. Watch this. Keep going.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That you don't remember it no more. This is why in 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 47, it says, you have to bethink yourself in the land where you were carried away captives, right? So it says that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Go ahead.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
That means all of these nations in Psalms 83 has came together on one mind, on one objective. Go ahead.
They are confederate against thee.
They are together. They're not divided like the brotherhood of Judah and Israel. They are confederate against the lost sheep of the house of Israel, that they may not be remembered no more, and that they are no more a nation. Keep going.
The tabernacles of Edom.
That's the so-called white man. Go ahead.
And the Ishmaelites.
That's the Arabs.
Of Moab.
Oh, y'all know who that is. The Chinese. Go ahead.
And the Hagarenes.
So it's talking about all nations. I didn't pull all of it, but those are the Hamites. All right. So all nations played a role in our transatlantic slave trade. And if you was to go read Psalms 83, you can get that understanding. Go to Obadiah 1 and 3. But we're going to focus on Edom. We're going to focus on the Edomites. That's what we're going to focus on, because they are the ones that are going to and fro throughout the earth looking to see who they can devour. They are the ones that's colonizing everywhere they go. They are the ones that's leading. They're leading this campaign. Obadiah 1 and 3. You got him?
Obadiah 1 and 3. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee.
This is how they think. This is how they think. Read that again.
The pride of thine heart have deceived thee.
It has deceived you. It has deceived you because Esau believes that he's never going to be judged. So that pride has really built up in his heart. Go ahead.
Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks.
That's how you know it's talking about Esau, because we all know we call him Esau, the Caucasians, because he comes from the Caucasus Mountains. But we're going to get that out the scriptures. Go ahead.
Whose habitation is high.
You know how they like to live. They like to live up high. And that comes from having the attributes of living in those mountains and living in those caves and living up high. Look, you ever seen a caveman with an afro out? You ever looked in a book and seen? I ain't never seen a caveman with an afro in a book. They know that we didn't come from caves. but they know that they came from caves. They are the ones that dwell in the cliff of the rock, whose habitation is high. Go ahead.
That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
This is how Esau is thinking. This is how Esau is thinking. But it came a time when Esau did. Let me show y'all how Esau got. A lot of people don't know that this war that's taking place here in this place, that I'm going to show y'all this place in the scriptures, we are the ones that's supposed to be on top. But right now, we're on the bottom. That's why he says, who shall bring me down to the ground, right? But there came a time when Esau had to go into those rocks, into those caves, and we're going to show it in the scriptures. Give me give me Job 30:5. A lot of people don't know, but it's in the scriptures. It's in the scriptures. They got up in there. It's right in the scriptures. And when they got in there, that's how they started to, go ahead. You got it out?
Job 30:5.
Mm-hmm.
They were driven forth from among men.
You know who that they are? Esau. Esau was driven from among men, right? Go ahead.
They cried after them as after a thief.
We cried after them. We yelled at them like what they are, thieves. Like they are thieves. And we drove them forth from among men, yelling, get on out of here. As if they stole everything, because we know that they steal everything. If it ain't, even if it's nailed down, they're going to get some screws, they're going to get some tools, and they're going to get it. They taking everything. Go ahead.
To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys.
That's where we drove y'all to. We drove y'all up in those cliffs. Get on up in there where you belong. Read it again.
To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys. And caves of the earth. And in the rocks.
That's where you lived. That's where you from. That's where you was at. That's why you call Caucasian. Go ahead.
Among the bushes they brayed. Under the nettles they were gathered together.
Go ahead.
They were children of fools. Yea, children of base men.
Base men. Go ahead. And this is how they treat Job now. Go ahead.
They were viler than the earth. And now am I their song. Yea, I am their byword.
I am their byword. So it's the same condition here. We're their byword. They call us all kinds of names, niggas, black, everything. They call us everything that we're not. Everything that are not. And this is, let me explain something to y'all. Esau experienced something called the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages took place when Rome fell. You can't see that, can you? When Rome fell, Rome went into a dark age. When Esau was going up into them rocks, to the cliffs of them rocks, and out of sight, it became the Dark Ages. All right? Rome fell. This is important. Rome fell. I'm going to show you why. Hold on. Rome fell. All right? Give me 1 second. Remember, oh, wait. Oh. All right. Rome fell. Salakia. Can you see that? That wasn't up?
I can see something, but I can't really see what it says.
All right. So no worries. All right. So let me go back to. I got to work with me. My jaw acting up big time. Hold on. Take that out. All right. So now we're going to get to that Rome falling, right? Hold on. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can pull her back up. All right. So when he went into that cave, when he was chased into those rocks, they went into something called the Dark Ages. All right. Those Dark Ages, this is at a time when Rome had fell. All right. So I'm going to pull up. Let me pull this up. I actually had it up for a sec. Work with me. Work with me. All right. All right, here we go. All right. So Rome actually fell. And Rome fell in 193 AD, right? And the one that took over Rome, first of all, I want to establish the fact that when Rome fell, that began the Dark Ages for the Edomites. When they was gone and they was up in those caves and they didn't have no history, it was called the Dark Ages. We didn't coin it as the Dark Ages. They coined it as the Dark Ages. So the fall of Rome and the Dark Ages began in 193 AD. Septimius Severus, he seized Rome and established a new dynasty. All right. He established a new dynasty. This is him here. It was a brother. Now, in another class, I'll bring out how we show that he was an Israelite, but he's called an African ruler, the first African ruler to rule Rome. So Esau wasn't in power anymore. Esau wasn't in power anymore. So it was coined the Dark Ages. Who you think coined it the Dark Ages, young man? Do you think we coined it the Dark Ages or they coined it the Dark Ages?
They would coin it the Dark Ages.
Why?
Because they weren't in power anymore.
Right.
It's kind of like the same way if we were thriving in a town here, they would say the media would push it saying it's bad or something like that just because they're not
exactly
having their way with it.
They're not having their way with it. It's the same thing. Look, it's coined the Dark Ages not by us, but by them. It wasn't dark for us. It was dark for them because they didn't have their culture. They didn't have any history. They didn't have anything. It says the Dark Ages was a term that was coined by the Renaissance scholars to criticize the lack of culture and learning in medieval Europe. It's talking about them. They are the ones that did not have any culture. All right. They the ones didn't have any economics, intellectual culture. All of that had declined and they didn't have anything. So they coined it the Dark Ages because they had no history. They had nothing to fall back on, but we didn't coin it no Dark Ages. Let me show y'all. So during this time they call it Dark Ages. Oh, don't get it twisted. It wasn't a dark age for us. This book right here is called Nature Knows No Color Line. And what you see crests. You see Negroes in their coat of arms and the noble families. All of these was being taken place during the Dark Age. So while they're calling it a Dark Age, we growing, we moving, we building things. We have an economy. We have literature. We have all of these. We have a kingdom. We're doing things while they are in darkness. So they were the ones that was in the Dark Age. And there's more. There's more. And you can see that these people in this book that was written by J.A. Rogers, it shows that these people were people of color. And these people was established during what Esau would call the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages. But then Esau came back. Do you know what Esau came back in the scriptures? You got any clue? All right. Esau came back during something called the Renaissance era. Just giving y'all a quick history before I get into the book of Revelation. The Renaissance era. The Renaissance era is called it means to be reborn. It means when they came out and they established the paper bull, they established the transatlantic slave trade, all of those things was established during that period and during that time. All right. This is when they began to whitewash. Remember, we was established in history, right? They came out, boom, and they began to whitewash. Give me 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. They began their whitewash campaign, and they began to whitewash everything. They began to build their Renaissance era and build their literature, build their history. They got their hands on the Bible. They got their hands on everything, and everything became not yours, but ours, as in the colonizer. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, read.
Which verse?
Start at verse 1.
2 Thessalonians, verse 1.
Chapter 2 and verse 1.
Chapter 2, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand.
So he's saying that the day of our King, Yahushua Mashiach, is at hand. Verse 3.
Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
We're getting ready to reveal the man, the son of perdition. Perdition. We're getting ready to reveal that because it's important to understand and establish America in the Bible, right? There's a couple things that has to be established. One, there had to be a falling. Esau had to go into a dark age, and he had to come out of a Renaissance era. He had to be reborn again. I'm gonna show y'all why. All right. I'm just trying to get some history in, and I'm doing a little bit of jumping because of time's sake. All right. But he's about to be revealed. Verse 4. This is the son of perdition. This is what he does. Go ahead.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showeth himself that he is God.
So he sitteth in the temple of God, showing that he is God. Who did that?
Caesar.
Hand me that. Who did that? Who opposing and exalt himself above all? Who did that? Esau did. The Edomite. He opposing and exalt himself above all, right? That is called God, or that is worship. So he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, right? Showing that he is God. He's showing that he is God. He took this image and he made this image into God. And now he sitteth in the temple of God, showing that he is God. That's what he did. And when he did it, shoot down to verse 9.
Yeah.
Verse 9.
Verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders.
With all powers and signs and lying wonders. Keep reading.
And with all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth.
That means they receive not. You know, what's the truth? What's the truth? You know what the truth is? Y'all know what the truth is?
The word of the Most High.
You need to be more precise. That's true, but the truth is the law. You in this truth. All right? It's the law. That's why he says, and with all deceivableness of righteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Verse 11.
Verse 11. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie.
The Most High sends a strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Why?
That they all might be damned who believe not the truth.
Because they receive not the love of the truth. This guy right here, He exalted himself, and now he is called God. He controls everything about you. Everything. I mean, everything. So now, coming out of the dark ages, right? So we got a little bit of history behind that, right? So let's come into the dark ages now. All right. Give me Malachi chapter 1 and verse 2. All right. This right here is called the Renaissance, coming out of the dark ages. The Renaissance era is in the Bible. So look, we showed you Esau in the caves in the Bible. Gave you a little bit of history after that. Now I'm showing you that when he came back, when he came out of those caves, when the Renaissance era came back, this is how Esau came. This is the scripture that you can use to show that Esau coming back in power. Go ahead.
Malachi 1 and 2. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau.
Come on.
And laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
This is what Esau said, verse 4.
Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished.
This is, remember, they was impoverished, right? They was in the Caucasus. They was in the Black Sea. They was in a dark age. They didn't have no culture, no history, no economy. They had nothing. So they say, read it again. We what?
We are impoverished.
Come on.
But we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down.
The Most High said they're going to build. But when that judgment comes, he's going to throw it down. Go ahead.
And they shall call them the border of wickedness.
That's who you know what a border is? A border is something that you don't cross. A border is a border. It's something that's between you and I. And what's between you and I is Esau. It's a border between us, and we don't have no business trying to be like what they doing on the other side of that border or anything. Remember, the nations was left to do what? To prove us, to test us. Esau is here to prove us, to test us. That's what he's here for. That's what he's here for. But this is how the Most High feels about him. Read.
And the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever.
No, just for the old covenant.
Forever.
For the new covenant.
Forever.
Forever. This is a forever thing with Esau. Don't let nobody fool you. Esau, the Most High, has an indignation against him forever. So when he came out of the Renaissance, when he came out and he was reborn out of the Caucasus, oh man, he began to do some things. He began to do some things, and we're going to show you that in the book of Revelation. But right now, I want you to give me Job chapter 9 in verse 24. And I want you to give me 1 Maccabee 3 and 48. Fix that right now. So coming out of the Renaissance era, this is what they began to do. Go ahead.
Job 9 and 24.
Mm-hmm.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Now
remember, we started this class off by saying that the saints shall judge what? The world. The saints shall judge the world. Esau knows that. He knows that the saints is going to judge the world. The 12 tribes of Israel is going to judge the world. So when they came out of the Renaissance era, the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. And guess what he did? He covered up the faces of the judges thereof. He covered their faces, right? If not, who and where? Who the hell is he then? Who came out and started whitewashing the judges? Who came out of the Renaissance era and put the two witnesses, which is the lost sheep of the house of Israel, which is Judah and Israel, into captivity? Who taught them to hate one another? Who taught them not to keep the laws? Who did all of these things? Who led the campaign and crafty counsel? They did. But I want you to keep in mind, he covered up the faces of the judges thereof. You got it? Maccabee, 1 Maccabee 3 and 48.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48.
Mhm.
And lay open the book of the law, wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So now they opened up our book and they whitewashed it. They whitewashed our minds. They covered up the faces of the judges thereof, right? Painted their faces, everything. So now we coming out of the Renaissance era. Remember, we was put on slave ships. Everything that we're getting now out of the Renaissance era, it's all new. It's new because guess what? We got a new language. We got a new name, new land, everything now. We in the new world. The earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. He covered up the faces of the judges. He whitewashed everything. He completely destroying us. So keep in mind. Give me Exodus 21 and 16. Remember, we started this out by the judges, and the judges is going to be the saints, which is the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And we're going to judge the world. But how could we judge the world if we're divided? How could we judge the world if we're broken? We can't judge the world if we're broken. And guess what? All of those nations in Psalms 83, they are guilty of this. You got it? Exodus 21 and 16.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
And he that stilleth a man.
He that what?
Stilleth a man.
Has any men been stolen?
Khan.
Who?
Israelites.
Israel, us. Those two witnesses, Judah and Israel, the ones that's dwelling in North America, the ones that's going to judge the world. Yeah, us. We've been stolen. Go ahead.
And selleth him.
Was we sold?
Khan.
So we were stolen and sold. Go ahead.
Or if he be found in his hand.
When Yahweh shall return, is he going to find us in their hands?
Khan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They stole us, they sold us, and they're going to be capped with Yahweh shall, which is Jesus Christ return. We're going to be caught in their hand. Go ahead.
He should be surely put to death.
Those nations have to be judged. Those nations have to be judged, and only one way they can be judged is through the righteousness of the two witnesses, which is Judah and Israel. But remember, Judah and Israel, we are divided. Remember, we are divided. Zechariah 11 and 14, read it one more time. Now we're going to take all of that, everything that we read, and now we're going to go into Revelation, and I'm going to show you, and you compartmentalize. Am I saying that right? I know I'm butchering that, but you can put it in order how you want to put it in order. All right. But we're going to now go to the book of Revelation and show. Go ahead, read that. Young man Chris, read that. Zechariah 11 and 14.
Zechariah 11 and 14.
Mm-hmm.
That I cut asunder mine other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel.
That he might do what?
Break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel.
Remember, this is what took place. This is what has happened, right? So now, hold on. Wait, give me 1 sec. I got to work with me. I told y'all I had to rearrange some things. Okay, so let's get it. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 1. Now, I'm going to show you America. Now, remember, Rome had failed. Rome had failed. The fall of Rome and Esau going into the dark ages happened when? What's the date? Anybody remember the date? 193 AD. 193 AD. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 1. Let's get it.
Revelation 12 and 1.
Uh-huh.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Now, let me ask you a question. Who stood before Christ, waited for Christ to be born, and tried to kill him? Did anybody? Who?
It was a king, wasn't it?
Yep. What king was it?
Pharaoh.
Nah, it wasn't Pharaoh.
Herod.
King Herod, which is an Edomite. I'm gonna go to it. I had pulled it up. Go to Matthew chapter 2 and verse 16. Go ahead.
King Herod was in Egypt.
No, he was a king of Judah. King Herod was the king of Judah, but he was an Edomite. That was the king of Judah. Remember, one of the prophecies was that neither kingdom will have a king. Judah or Israel will have a king. Esau, being in that place, was not the real king of Israel. That's why it says, what is that? Romans. It says, "He that are of Israel is not all that are of Israel is of Israel." That's why I made that statement, because you got King Herod. He was in Israel, but he wasn't of Israel. All right, you got that, Matthew 2 and 16. Just to prove. So it says, "And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to deliver, for to devour her child as soon as it was born." Soon as he was born. This show and prove that this is an Edomite, and these are Edomite nations. If he is that dragon, that red dragon, who was born in the Bible red?
Esau.
Right. Go ahead. You got that? Matthew 2 and 16.
Khan Adawan Khan.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 16.
Go ahead.
Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth.
So he was tight. Go ahead.
And sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
Y'all know who the wise men were, right? Young man Chris, you know who the wise men were?
I don't know the names, but I know.
But you do know who the wise men are. So the wise men were the ones that came to say that the king was born. So King Herod was trying to kill him. So if King Herod was the one that was standing before the child, standing before the woman, ready to devour the child as soon as it was born, which would be the dragon, it's Edomite. You understand? Okay.
I mean,
Esau is, okay, King Herod is an Edomite. He would be considered the one that was trying to kill the child as soon as it was born. Go ahead.
I mean, I get what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm trying to figure how would I.
Give him the mic.
How would you combat if somebody's saying no, that's not, because that's Satan with the tail and the star is being the third of the angels, and
all right,
you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to.
No. That's too wild. I want you to go to Genesis 22 and 17. I'm gonna show you who the stars are. Everything has to be done by precept, right? Who would be the stars of heaven? Israel. I'm gonna give him the precept. Genesis 22 and 17.
Genesis 22 and wrong verse. Genesis 22 and 17.
Mm-hmm.
That in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gates the gate of his enemies. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed.
All right. So now, when it says the stars of heaven would be a precept that you would use for the Israelites, because the Israelites is the stars of heaven. Like, for instance, who is the star? Is that the star of Judah? Is it the star of Judah? Oh no. Salakia. All right. So now let's go back to Revelation. Because I want to help my brother. I want to help him. Hold on. All right, look. In that where we was just at, right? Where the precept is, where it talks about the stars of heaven and all that, right? I want to show you something. Go to Revelation. Go to Revelation. Hold on. Go to Revelation. Okay, I want you to read Revelation 13:1. I want you to read Revelation 13:1.
Revelation 13:1.
Uh-huh.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
All right, now stop. So he said, I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death. That is the fall of Rome. Because Rome is one of the 7 heads, right? Read 13 again. Read 13. 13:3.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. Okay, so now I'm about to show you. You get it? Do you get it? I know I was talking to him. Okay. One of the heads of that red dragon in Revelation, remember in Revelation 12 and 12:3, there appeared another wonder in heaven. There was a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns. What's that, verse 3? I'm asking young man Chris, you see it? I'm still on 13.
Go back to 12.
Want me to read it?
Let me get it. Yeah.
Revelation 12:3.
Go ahead.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Now go back to Revelation 13:1. In 3. I'm sorry.
Revelations 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
Now, which one? That's one of the 7 heads. You understand? Out of the 7 heads and 10 horns, one of those heads was wounded to death. You see that? Okay. So when one of those was wounded to death, that would be the fall of Rome. Because Rome is one of the 7 heads. That's why it's important to make sure that you have, if you're going to have this discussion, it's important for you to have, it's important for you to have what I had up when I talked about the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Now I can't find it. But you remember one of them was Rome. And who else is from Rome? Well, think about it. Herod was around that time, and he was coming from the Roman Empire. So when it says in verse 3, and I saw one of his heads as if it was wounded to death, that was the fall of Rome. All right. And then when it says that was one that and his deadly wound was healed. You see that, right?
Yeah.
So that same head that was wounded to death, that same head was healed. So I'm saying that it's Rome. Let's say you're saying it's Rome, right? How could we prove what was healed? I'm gonna show you. Can you see the board? You got to see it. Or you can look on your phone. America was called Rome. The District of Columbia was called Rome. So Rome would have died, and now Rome is being resurrected. That deadly wound, that when it was called Rome, is now being healed, and now it's called America. Can you read that? Come over and read it, because I want you to read it. Go ahead. You could have used that one. Go ahead and read it.
In the 17th century, a vast estate of 400 acres existed southeast of what is now Georgetown in Maryland. Mm-hmm. Owned by an Italian culture enthusiast, this land was ambitiously named Rome.
All right, now stop. It says Italian culture. Remember, one of those 7 heads was Italy. All right, go ahead.
The owner's passion for Italy didn't just influence the name.
Keep going.
It shaped his vision for the New World. This estate was more than land. It was a symbol of aspirations and connection to ancient civilizations, transitioning from European inspiration to American reality. The landowner renamed Goose Creek to Tiber Creek. This act mirrored Rome's iconic river Tiber, creating a symbolic link across continents. His vision was to merge the grandeur of ancient Rome with the budding potential of America.
All right. So you can take one of those back with you. So what we're saying is, in the book of Revelation, when it talks about the deadly wound, that deadly wound was healed. All right. It was healed. And when it was healed, it was called America. And you can see the similarity. Look at the board. Like, a lot of times we don't look at the similarity between the two, but you can actually see the similarity between Rome and America. You can actually see it. And a lot of times, like I said, that's something that we don't put the two together. So here we have the wound, the deadly wound being healed. And when that deadly wound was healed, that deadly wound came out, and it was America. Old, sweet, old loving America. All right. All right. So, young man Chris, you understand?
No.
You still don't understand, but you see where I'm coming from, though, right?
Yes.
What is it that you're saying that you're having an issue with?
I mean, it's just going.
Because the red dragon?
I get both. I get what you're saying, but it's going to take a minute
to sink in.
Yeah.
But always remember this: there's only one person that was born in the Bible red. You know who that is? And they're linked to Esau. They linked to the Edom. Herod is linked to the Edomites. Herod, go ahead.
Salaki. That's why they put the color white on themselves instead of claiming to be red.
Yeah, because it gives you a better impression of them. It gives you a real good impression of them, right? I want to read something else, right? When you go to the book of Revelation, chapter 12, which we was just reading. Let me go to it real quick with you. And I'm gonna pull it up. See if I can. All right, so look, I'm gonna get it up so they can read along with it. So, and I'm gonna try to show you what you're asking me and what people are saying, because you're right, it is Satan. But you got to understand, Esau is the seed of Satan. He was around from the beginning, right? So it says, I just want to bring it up so that they can see it with me. All right. It says, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head was a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns up on his head. And his tail drew a third part of the stars and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman. So this same dragon that they're saying that is Satan, right, stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and unto his throne. Verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven, and Michael, his angel, fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels and prevailed not. Neither was there a place found any more in heaven. So when it talks about heaven, it's not talking about the floaty place in heaven. It's talking about Jerusalem. It's talking about Israel. But this is where I want to get you to, verse 9. And that great red dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. Look, and deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels cast out too. So the devil and Satan is the same. The word devil means deceiver, it just means deception. And Satan is the actual angel. You understand? So they're the same. All the way back in the beginning, he was the serpent in the garden. That's why it says that great and that great dragon was cast out. That old serpent, right? He was in the Garden of Eden. He was called the devil, which is the deceiver, and Satan. So it's all the same. It's not nothing different. It's just that Satan had an empire. Satan had an empire here on earth. You follow me, young man, Chris? That's his kingdom. His kingdom is America. He controls and dictates everything here in America. That great red dragon. And this is the deadly wound that was healed. Go ahead, Al.
So when Esau blessing was the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth, that's what this is basically.
Right. Yeah, let's go to that. Let's go to that. That's in Genesis. What's that, like Genesis 30? Man, get me there. Is it might be 27. Could be 27. He said, bless me. Verse 40. Go to 27, Genesis 27 and 40. This will help you out with that too, young man, Chris. You can start at 39 and 40, young man.
27 and 40.
27 chapter 27, verse 39 and 40.
Khan Adawan Khan, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
That's that 7 heads and 10 horns. He living up high. He controlling everything. Go ahead.
And of the dew of heaven from above.
Go ahead.
And by thy sword
by thy what?
By thy sword.
He gonna be killing. Esau, the Edomites, is going to be killing. Those 7 heads and 10 horns, they did a lot of killing. Salakia, they did a lot of unaliving Israelites to get into those kingdoms, to build those kingdoms. Go ahead.
By thy sword shall thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, and thou shalt break the yoke from off thy neck. So what it's saying right there is it's going to come a time when because we ruled over them, it's going to come a time when he's going to break that yoke and he's going to be ruling. He's going to be living off the fatness of the earth. He's going to be ruling the earth by a sword. That's what Esau does. He goes out and he commits war. And he lives according to the sword. All right. Any questions? No questions? Tawab? Tawab. All right. All right, we're going to give a courtesy salute. Men of Israel. Amijam means to stand. Oh, Salakia. I got to do Salakia. All right. Usually the brother would be here, but he was out sick. So this is the ISUPK security announcements, rules for new brothers and new sisters. When a new brother and new sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if you have an interest in a particular person, seek counsel from the head. Tithing, which is a commandment. Ma'asharah means 10th in Hebrew. That's 10% of anything that the Lord gives you. All right. Priest fund is not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like to give, you may give. Up and coming holy convocations. We got on June the 17th, we got the Feast of First Fruits. I just wanted to be sure. We have the Feast of First Fruits. That'll be June 17th. That'll be right here at 202 North DuPont Boulevard. All right. If you're in Delaware, you need to get here. All right. That's 202 North DuPont Boulevard. It's the Feast of First Fruits. All right. That'll be June 17th. All right. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black pants, boot, scarf, and saying that. Amijah means to stand. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat, Amijah, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barak Atham, Yahya Matah, Sar means to turn. Sisters, Amijah means to stand. We're going to give the sisters a courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amijah Shabbat, Amijah, Barak, Yahweh Shema Atham Hashem Yahushua, Yahya Matah. Class dismissed.
Get down here to class, 1232 North King Street, Wilmington, Delaware.
Shalom, Lord in Christ, to my brothers and sisters, man. Y'all need to come down to 1232 North King Street, where the truth resides, man. ISUPK Delaware. We definitely representing doing some big things.
202 North DuPont Boulevard in Smyrna, Delaware.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Come and be a part of this rising thing that we got going on here in Delaware.
I hear everybody claiming that they love the Lord and love God and all that. Well, get in here and show it. You know what I mean? The scriptures say faith without works is dead. So if you ain't doing nothing, your faith is dead. So get up and do something. What you need to do is get your ass up and get in the class. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't doing nothing else. You're sitting home wasting time. Everything is going on around you, and you don't know how to compartmentalize these things. You understand? I'm on my way to class right now, like you should be. You know what I'm saying? Class don't stop for nothing.
Yay.
Because Moses, they had the same thing, right? They was